This is another Unplateauing Melee talk, and this time the theme is around engaging focused practice. Can you detail more on what you mean by that, and mind introducing yourself a little?
Alright, so my name is Swan, or you'll see me in the chat as Swan Runner, because there's no way to get a 4-letter name on a site as old as Twitch. I've been casually playing Melee since June 2002, and late last summer I watched the Melee Stats documentary of Michael versus Bananas, and that led me into the rabbit hole of actually paying attention to competitive Melee, and then like wanting to actually play myself. And so, you know, I've been trying to develop some skills, but I just have like a lot of weird habits from, you know, playing this game casually for nearly 19 years. And
damn, 19 years of playing.
I mean, not like off
Casual.
and on. Like let's be real. Like first it's off and on. But also like yeah, originally in 2002 I was playing a lot of like Kirby and Fox in, you know, adventure mode and just beating up on my little brothers. And by like 2005 I'd settled on Marth as the character that I have the best handle on. And I had one friend who actually played a little bit of Melee too, and he definitely had like figured out more tech skill things, but I had the reads and the advantage,
The mind games.
so I was just like, well, I'm just gonna F smash in this spot at this timing, and you're gonna get mad. And so we switched off of playing Melee to playing Brawl, because that way we wouldn't get too salty. But yeah.
So let's get to the part where you actually start taking it seriously. Like, what year?
So I got my hands on Slippy at, you know, late in November, but in my old but it wasn't really until I moved into my new place and settled in March. Actually, let me just look at my Slippy replay folder real quick.
Like, would you say you started out 2020, but you really started picking up in 2021?
I really started picking up on March 10th.
Of this year.
Of this year, March 10th is when I really started like playing a little bit more. I'd played against like some like 20XX CPUs, and I've gotten to that level where it's like I could just abuse their AI.
The mind games.
Yeah, the mind games. Because I come from a tabletop gaming background, and so like mind games are really all you have access to in that. And so playing a game with execution is definitely not something I've done in at least a decade, really. That in any sense that really matters. And so I've got. And then with the whole hidden MMR thing that Slippy does, so that bad players play other bad players.
Yeah,
I keep just beating bad net play Foxes and bad net play Falcos, and so like I'm not really feeling like the impetus to like actually get better. So I like went ahead and I got a lesson from Spark, because I'm gonna go with NorCal first, and you know wanted to support a NorCal smasher while he's elsewhere. And he wrote you know wrote a Google Doc and like, okay, here's all the notes we're taking, and the thing I was like, please make this for me, like. Set out a chunk of time, like what should a solo practice session look like? Because I had seen it in a couple places, and I'd said something in your channel, and you said like you need a solo practice, and so I have written out a routine for solo practice that I should do, and I find solo practice tedious, and I can't get into it.
Mm-hmm. You're not alone in this feeling. A lot of people feel that way.
No, it's I know I'm not alone in it, but
you do want to solve this problem.
I do want to solve this problem because like I have, you know, classic former gifted kid thing where it's just like, well, I never learned to try.
It's good information to know. Never learned to like really give it your all. Like,
yeah.
Never learn to try challenged.
Yeah, or like all of like my best trying have to do with like feats of endurance, or just like, you know, you grit it out, or like, you know, management of chronic pain. Like those are the things that I'm really good at trying, or I'm really good at like making an intuitive leap. But but like if we're talking about things that have to do with like serious repetitive practice, like learning an instrument or learning a language, I've never successfully started doing the type of solo practice you need to do to successfully do those types of tasks.
Wait, I'm sorry. So you said that you're good at grit, or not?
Yeah. So by that, like, if like so it's just like, well, this is a responsibility I have. I need to get this done. Because I am responsible to something that is not internal. That I'm able to get that done. So that like that sort of obligatory and like, you know, keep moving and just get it done. That I'm good at. But if it's like, this is for me, and it's kind of tedious to do, I'll get distracted.
So are you saying that you're good at things that have stakes involved? Or some form of accountability measure?
More so, something where I am responsible to someone else.
Okay, so you're good at doing things.
I'm good at honoring commitments to others.
Good at honoring commitments, but not to yourself.
Not to myself.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So maybe you'd be more compelled to solo practice if there was teams?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Not to yourself. And why do you feel that way?
I'm not sure. That just goes.
Because, like, you know, solo practice is tedious, but if you were doing it for a teammate, despite that tediousness, like, you're gonna honor that commitment, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, there's, like, you know, basically already a way that you could do it. It's just when it just happens to be only for yourself, it becomes tedious, right?
Yeah, or it's you know, it's yeah, whether or not I'm able to focus, because if the only thing on the line is my own my own ill-formed ambition, you know, that's not enough of a sunk cost.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And so you can't find, just to recap a little, you can't find that you could do a practice routine consistently because you find it tedious and you want to really do it for yourself. Yeah, but, you know, finding that, like, you know, when you have to do things for other people, you do it anyways. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. Yeah. Interesting to know. Do you play this game for yourself or for your others?
No.
Like, what's your interest for even playing this game?
So I got heavily involved in playing Netrunner and X-Wing through 2017 and 2018, and I fell in love with competitive play And my true ambition, what like the point that I want to get to in any game, it doesn't necessarily have to be melee. Just melee. It'd be cool to do in melee because melee's sick. I want to achieve a level of skill in a competitive field where if I get paired up against a stranger, they feel unlucky for it.
Okay, that's certainly an ambition.
So yeah, like that would be a because I'm not looking for like anyone who doesn't play the game to like know me for playing the game. That like I don't really care about that. But if I can make someone that plays the game be like, oh man, I've got this guy in my bracket already, and just feel like they've been dealt a bad hand because of that. Like that would be just a level of growth that would be very, very satisfying.
Yeah, I feel like probably a lot of people feel that way when they see me in bracket.
Yes, exactly. Like but like you're not necessarily someone that doesn't know about melee is gonna know. Which I think is kind of, it's actually kind of cooler when you're talking about like that level, that tier in the community. It's like, oh, okay, the nerds know you, and like that's like that.
Yes,
really
getting mentioned by melee stats. Oof, that's a dream. That's like the mid-level dream. Is that when you get mentioned by melee stats as like a loss for someone, it's like, oh yeah, that feels good.
Oh yeah. Well, was it yeah, because like the Hanky Panky documentary, I actually watched that one like twice. Within like the first week of me like really getting into like watching the YouTube content that there is for melee.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So getting that all aside, when you, so that was your motivation. Very interesting way, by the way. I don't think it's wrong. How come? So then, this is purely for yourself, right? Or
oh yeah.
Is it really for yourself, or is it for others?
I mean, I don't really see a way that's for others.
Well, one way it could be for others is that you're making others regret playing you, right? Yeah, notice how it's not just purely about you, is it? It's like they regret me.
Yeah. I'm also, well, yeah, so like in some of these tabletop games I'm in, I am a tournament organizer, so I try not to dunk on everyone too hard.
Yeah, you gotta check as many people as possible, but being a little selfish, it's also not entirely selfish either, like, because my motivations are entirely selfish. This is for my challenge. My challenge I need to overcome. Yours is a little bit different. You want to like make them suffer somehow.
Yeah.
And well, when you're not honoring that kind of commitment, I don't know. What does that make you feel? You're not making them regret it.
It's not. I'm not sure how to articulate that exactly, but it's. I've only actually played. I played in the Utah local 8 days ago, and I almost got the guy in the second in the losers game. It was really just like I messed up on recovery. Yeah, and if I hadn't died early, I think it would have been a 50-50.
Yeah,
it would have come down to like a last hit scenario.
And maybe they would have regretted it more if you practiced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like there's some motivations where like even if melee dies, some people will continue playing the game anyways. And I think if melee were to die, you would probably stop playing the game, right?
No, I mean, like, I ran a national championship for a game that had been canceled for a year, and I got 60 people to show up. So I'm pretty good at being invested in dead games.
That doesn't sound like a dead game to me, then. I'm talking, like, dead. Like, there's no scene.
No. Oh, I mean, I would probably move on to a game that has a scene.
Right, like, you know, there's no one in bracket that would, you know, regret renting to you if there isn't anyone, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas for me, like, even if the game was dead, like, I'll probably still keep playing.
Yeah.
But, like, yours is focused around, like, the premise is that there needs to be someone else playing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
I like a lot of the reason why I like competitive play is because I get to experience the reactions of others.
Mm-hmm. So,
in a novel way.
What do you think about connecting that to, even though practice is tedious, what about overpowering that with a stronger motivation?
That makes sense. There's still just a little cognitive gap.
Because you already told me that, like, you overcome this tedious feeling when it's for other people, right?
Yes, I have.
This is not totally for yourself, you know? This competitive play motivation. It's not only for yourself, you know?
Okay.
Is that not true?
I mean, yeah, because the more competent players there are in a scene, the healthier it gets, and then that just has all sorts of knock-on effects.
Right, but, like, your motivations is dependent on, like, trying to make everyone regret playing you, right?
I'm not gonna go so far as everyone yet.
Okay, well, a lot of people, right?
No, just...
They.
I just want to make a stranger feel unlucky, and we'll start there.
Yeah, sure, okay, start there. A stranger regret you. Alright, I'll make that adjustment.
Because that would be, you know, if that would be the skill of an individual transcending their own play group.
Yeah, so is that not similar of honoring commitments to others?
I mean, so the one difference to be difficult is that I do not have an agreement with the larger media community, nor does the larger community have any expectation. So that's the part that makes it hard to turn the corner on that.
Can you clarify a little?
When I talk about it being like I am motivated in circumstances where I am fulfilling an obligation, you know, there has to be an expectation of another person that I would be disappointing. So it is.
Yeah, it's much more instant, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more like, well, I will do some sort of either disappointment or bigger harm if I do not follow through. That's
Yes.
more so the
Yes. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. You know, when you have a more instant feedback loop, you tend to, you know, take note of that, and then more likely to honor your word, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you a question.
Go for it.
Did you like going to school?
I didn't like...
To clarify, did you like going to middle school? You like going to high school?
School was actually pretty miserable. I liked getting things right in class. I hated doing homework.
Yeah, okay. But you had to get up at school pretty early in the morning, right? A lot of people, they look back and like, how the hell did I get up at 7 a.m. every day for school? You know?
Yeah.
That was the typical wake up period for your schools, right?
Because my parents would have been mad.
Yeah, and did you like waking up for school?
No, good no.
No one does. Like, you gotta be kind of a psycho to like waking up school for like 7 a.m. like 5 times a day. Or
Yeah.
not 5 times a day, 5 times a week.
I mean,
Imagine
it feels like 5 times a day.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'd hit the snooze bar enough times that I did get up for school 5 times a day.
Yet there is steady attendance, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, you would miss one here and there, but for the most part, it was consistent. Despite, you know, not liking school, there is a consistency there. Like, you know, yes, there are some truancies for some students here and there, but, like, most students, they are there. Like, 95% of them, they're just there. There's the freaks that have perfect attendance, but, you know, most of them are there most of the time, right? And why is that? Why is that? Despite not, like, you know, a lot of people hate waking up at 7 a.m. and then, like, once they get out of the high school and they go to college, it's like, I'm not capable of waking up at 7 a.m. again. Why is that the case?
Well, because you actually have the freedom to not wake up at 7 a.m.
And what does that connect to?
Just having all the choices available.
Yeah, and what's the difference between college and like, you know, high school?
How compulsory your schedule is.
There's something greater than that. That doesn't account for like all factors. It kind of does, but there's something else. Like,
I must have missed the key detail in the leading question.
There is accountability.
Yes. Okay.
You kind of already said it yourself. Like, you don't want to disappoint your parents. You don't want to. You have like consequences for missing school, at least high school. Whereas, like in college, there's way less accountability, right?
Right.
You know, I missed tons of lectures, and that would not fly by in high school. I'll tell you that much. I would be suspended for missing half of my classes. I'd be. My parents would probably yell at me. And then in college, I didn't attend half my lectures. Nobody cares.
Oh, no one cares. I was accountable to my 5-figure student loans.
Yeah, but you know, it's not instant. That's the thing. Like, yeah, student loans, that should have kept you accountable, but it's not really an instant, you know, thing.
Instant feedback loop.
Yeah. Whereas in high school, you had, like, even though, like, you know, considering student loans is way less of a consequence, you had a more immediate feedback loop. Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
So what do you think of this?
I'm sorry. I'm not predicting the punchline at all.
No, there is no punchline. I'm just wondering, like, what do you think of this?
I think it's an interesting idea. But I do not. Yeah, I
more like, not, does this make sense?
No. Like the whole logic. Yeah, the whole logic. The framework that you put together makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, because there's accountability, and more so, it was immediate accountability from like the feedback of like, hey, you're 1 minute late, you're tardy. Better not miss. You better not be tardy again. You better not like miss. You know, exactly. A day. So. Do you think this could be applied for Melee? For your Melee practice? Having some form of accountability?
It's possible. I do not have a vision of what that would look like, but I think it's not outside of possibility.
Yeah, and here's the thing that, like, everybody hated school. Okay, maybe not literally everyone, but most people did not like waking up for school for doing this. Because, you know, school is not inherently... There's tons of flaws in the education system. You're making hormonal kids waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning when they probably needed way more sleep than that. The education may not even be in their best interest. Tons of flaws, yet they did it. It is possible to do pretty much the same thing for your melee commitments. And as long as your motivations are there, like... You could like it too. Like, imagine
Okay.
school was perfect. Yes, it is annoying to, wake up at 7 a.m., but, at least you're not hating yourself in the process.
Absolutely.
So it's possible to set this up as long as, like, your motivations are, clear through accountability.
Yes.
And it seems like it makes sense. The reason why, you're good at honoring commitments to others is because it's like an immediate feedback loop. You have some form of accountability. Whereas if it's just for yourself, you're setting up lax schedules, it's like, whatever. Yeah, I guess I'm not making other people regret me, but I'm not seeing that immediately, so what gives, That means you're not going to focus on your solo practice.
Yeah.
So how do you think this could be applied to you? How do you think you could set accountability in order to make solo practice, in order to have even an engaged practice session?
I don't know. I genuinely do not know.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's get started with something. Who is someone that you think could hold you accountable consistently, or maybe even some kind of system? There's something like maybe like a swear jar.
I don't. I was gonna try to think of a way to sort of connect it to my pile of unpainted miniatures, but I think that's just the same problem all over again, and not a sort of solution. But yeah, something along those lines, or perhaps with this dog. If I don't, something that might be maybe I have to take him out for a longer walk if I don't do what I'm supposed to do.
So I'll give you a little inspiration for what I personally do. Now, I'm taking a little pause of my accountability practice because, like, I have some friends over that I've not seen in a long time. So, like, obviously that's going to mess up things and I want to take it a little lax. But once I'm back in the groove, probably starting next week, I have something in my tweet deck. I schedule a tweet.
Oh, okay.
I schedule a tweet. Saying, this is a scheduled tweet. This goes off at 10:30 a.m. If I am not streaming my morning accountability solo practice, I have to give 10 subs.
Okay.
That sets stakes. That sets accountability. That sets consequences. If I do not follow through. If I don't literally get on my Twitter and delete that. And then, overall, it promotes accountability. And then I stream to my audience.
I see.
And then the goal is to not set up an entertaining stream. It's a goal for me to have a focused practice session.
Okay.
And in turn, it promotes practice. Focused practice, as you want.
Yeah.
That is like the variables that I set up for myself to set up the stakes, the very clear consequences if I do not follow through, then follow up with it. And that has it's all like, it's all immediate.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And I have to do it. I for a long time, like, I also had a similar problem. It's like, how does people do this? Like, how does Amsa wake up at 6:30 a.m. every day doing tech skill practice or something? Like, I don't understand. But I don't know if he does this But my guess is that maybe he has some form of accountability measures. I don't know for sure, but
that sounds like some Jerry Rice behavior.
What?
That sounds like some Jerry Rice behavior.
Yeah, I just don't understand. But if he uses this method, it actually makes a lot of sense. Like some form of stakes that you set up that ultimately, whether you like it or not, you do it. Because this is completely independent on your motivations. You know, this works for middle and high school, elementary school too, but whatever. You know, this works in junior academia, whether you like it or not, because of the stakes, the consequences, and the accountability that it promotes. It's all immediate too. That's the most important variable. Whereas in college, you see that huge dip in like the stakes and the consequences that are immediate, and therefore less accountability to attend your 8 a.m. lecture, despite it being more lax than like, you know, going to a 7 a.m. class.
Right. That is well put together. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and now that I kind of gave you a little inspiration on how I set up my personal accountability measures, what could be your idea on how you could promote accountability?
So yeah, I suppose that
someone in chat is suggesting give someone your bank account number, and if you miss a day of wage dashing, they get your balance.
Yeah, that's a little too steep, but I suppose that perhaps if once I begin my sequence, so I work at a board game store. I have a lot of games I collected. I don't actually want to shrink my collection at all, but perhaps if I do not once I've created my starting line, if I become lax, I have to.
So I want you to set up something that is beyond your control of the consequences.
Yeah.
Because like there is that like little control outside of that, or it's like, okay, well, I don't have to get that up, you know?
No. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. You know, I think I'm not necessarily going to have the ability to.
It's something I want you to think of is something like setting some kind of ticking time bomb that like only once you do this, the time bomb is diffused.
Yeah. I'm just there needs to be an appropriately sized time bomb. And that's figuring that out will definitely help me solo practice.
Yeah, I already do have an idea of mine, which I actually do with one of my students, but
okay. And
since you are signed up for my lesson, I can give you this option, but I want to see if you come up with one yourself.
I'm not gonna come with one myself in this moment.
Yeah, okay.
It's not gonna happen.
Feel free to think of one in your own time, but
sure.
Here is something that I can offer to you that would promote accountability. Since you are a student of mine, right?
Okay.
Wait, no. Oh, no, sorry, I'm thinking of someone else.
I'm not taking a lesson from you.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of someone else, but... Sorry, apologies for the mislabeling. But here's one thing I do with one of my students. Since he had a similar issue, and I told him to do this. It's a way to set stakes to promote accountability. Is if I do not do this, I forgo a lesson.
Ooh.
A lesson that you paid for will not be given. If you don't tell me that you did this.
Yeah, that's pretty steep.
Yeah, and you can see how this is immediate. It has stakes. It has very clear consequences. If you don't do it, you're not getting another lesson from me. You paid for like 2 lessons right here. and I'm not gonna give you the other half if you don't do this.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So that is potentially something that you could set up for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, pretend that I'm not trying to promote a scam artist, a scam artist scheme right here. But you don't have to do it necessarily with me. But perhaps like something similar to this.
Yeah. Well, was it working at a local game store? Inevitably, there's the cyclical flirtation with Magic the Gathering. And there is a very exciting new set of cards coming out soon, and so I would have to, perhaps enforced by my partner, I would probably need to slow drip those cards to myself only after I've done a practice. So I don't get to crack a whole box right when it comes out. I gotta slow drip it and do practices to actually get my cards.
Yeah, so like you could do with something. Another idea that I thought of is that if you have some friend of yours that's willing to go along with this, you could like give them $50 and be all like, all right, every time I do a lesson, you have to give me like 20% of it back, like in a span of a month. And like if you miss any days in a month, then like they just keep that money, Yeah. Of course, it's a friend that you have to trust, but you see how it's already setting up the stakes and the consequences. And like with your idea about something with like Magic the Gathering cards, like that could be something.
Yeah.
So
or what one of my coworkers who lives like a couple blocks away. Yeah, I'll pick up my box and then I gotta be accountable to actually get what I bought for myself.
And you see how also in like work, it already implicitly sets up accountability by like if you don't show up, you're fired. You don't get your money. It's a very similar setup, and again, it's also like the motivation that makes you determine whether or not like you appreciate this accountability or not. Because when you're in school, when you're in a job you hate, you don't appreciate it, and therefore you hate it. But when you're setting up the same accountability for a game that you love, it would kind of suck that you have to do this, but at the same time, it makes you appreciate like the work that it's forcing you to promote, the improvement that you have to do for that focused practice. So let me hear it from you one last time. What do you think you should be doing?
I think I should be setting up a stick that will be a problem for me if I do not follow through on my focus solo practice, because clearly the carrot of just getting good at Melee is not enough to get me there.
Yeah, and what should you do?
I should set up a scenario where there's a ticking time bomb.
And what is it?
Well, more specifically, well,
yes. What is it for you?
Well, for me, I suppose it would have to do with perhaps sequestering away the packs of Modern Horizons 2, which is probably the only Magic product I've been excited about in over a year. I don't get to have them. They're locked behind doing my solo practice.
I think those are very good stakes because they clearly matter to you, and if you don't do this, the consequences will ensue.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is less so of a matter of like how to do like a focus practice, and more so like actually just doing it. And a way how to just do it is setting up accountability. Just do it, and if you don't do it, there will be consequences. That's what's been missing. Yeah, is there anything else? Any questions? Any feedback? Any?
It's I think that is a good method, and I'm glad I took the opportunity to have this particular conversation.
Yeah, and I hope that you take this feedback into mind to have more focused practice session, and hopefully that means that you practice more often, and that means that you improve. And you know, if you feel like you need more of a direction, you mean Marth or Sheik?
It's Marth. Yeah, Marth is who I intend.
Maybe consider getting lessons from me.
Yeah,
And
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, and like and subscribe my YouTube. This will be up here. Yeah, and yeah, it was a good talk, and I'll see you guys around.